aanmelden, maar ja.
This is the most important thing happening in the world, and it's the most important thing, the most important conflict in the last 50 years. What happens here decides what will happen to democracy all around the world.
The Russians won't stop with Ukraine if they gain victory here. They will continue with other European countries threatening them, maybe attacking them. So that's why I'm here.
I was a soldier. I was deployed to Iraq in 2004. I spent a year in Iraq as a combat engineer. The Iraq War, when you look at it after almost 20 years, there's a lot of gray there. It's not clear right and wrong, I will say, which is unfortunate. This is black and white, right versus wrong.
It's very clear they bomb supermarkets in the middle of the day, which are not military targets. And then it's also clear that a lot of their troops are really badly trained from my experience. Of course, I have very good troops too, but also a lot of them are, I don't know what they're doing here. They're not well trained, not disciplined, and it reflects on their behavior.
Definitely, you don't have everything you need. The Ukrainian military has performed amazing. Actually, the Ukrainian military's victories against Russia will be written about in history and studied by other nations to try to find out how you have been so successful. That said, there is definitely more equipment training, and I would say NATO standard, just everything, the procedures, the training, the leadership, it should be brought up to NATO standard.
Troops of LNR captured a few Americans and they were sentenced to death. Are you prepared for such, such twist?
I am here to defend democracy. I would not be here if I was not prepared to do anything needed to defend democracy.
According to the international law, we are Ukrainian soldiers, so we should be considered prisoners of war, which is of course a protected statute according to international law, so they can be judged as normal prisoners, so the sentences are illegal.
It makes me really angry, really angry. Really angry. It makes me want to kill orcs. I will point out, it's important to say that no soldier from my unit left. No soldier left after our beloved comrade was killed. No soldier left. We all want to stay and we want to avenge his death. I like Ukraine very much. I would like to bring my wife to visit the many friends and wonderful people I have met in Ukraine. I look forward to seeing Ukraine after the victory, when we have kicked all the orcs out.
Over the past decade, tens of millions of people in the Middle East and North Africa have risen up against corrupt and autocratic regimes, demanding freedom, rights, and democratic reforms. But the ruling elites, threatened with the loss of their unchecked powers, have reacted with the repressive tools they have honed over decades. Many leaders of these uprisings have become casualties, jailed, or exiled. But the demands for democracy and human rights persist, deepen, and expand. As a leading Saudi journalist, Jamal Khashoggi championed the quest for democracy and freedom. For this, he was forced to flee his country. In early 2018, Khashoggi and colleagues who share his values established DAWN, Democracy for the Arab World Now, an organization devoted to championing rights and democracy in the region, not for tomorrow, but for today. Democracy now. In October 2018, the Saudi government murdered Jamal, fearful of the influence his calls for freedom would have. DAWN honors the legacy of Jamal Khashoggi by continuing his work, demanding human rights in the Arab world and justice for the victims of the region's tyrants. We investigate and document abusive arrests, trials, and detentions, providing a resource for comprehensive information on some of the most significant prosecutions. Unmask the servile bureaucrats who carry out and enable the abuse and oppression of their fellow citizens. Expose the complicity of foreign governments and businesses in enabling the abuses of oppressive regimes. We measure the performance of the international community in supporting or undermining democracy and rights in the region. We call it the Khashoggi Index. We advocate for accountability, reform, and the rule of law in the region and abroad, and build a platform for democracy exiles from the region and experts to share their analysis of the Middle East and North Africa, engage in dialogue and a debate to better understand the complex challenges of the region, and propose a vision for a rights-respecting future. Dawn, democracy for the Arab world now. Join us at dawnmina.org.
That's driven the opposite way, and that's got eyes. A little flare. Ohtani thinking, and he thinks better of it. Go back to first, 2-out hit.
That's because the power that Shohei has and the sound off that bat freezes you as an outfielder.
He does! He does, in fact, square it up! Outlaw gone! 3-run blast for Ohtani! Iterashai! Well, reaches for that one off center field. Is it deep enough? He got great speed. It is. That's going to score a run. RBI. It's now 7-6.
Good job by Shohei. Just getting the job done. You love a home run. You love an extra base hit, but it's a baseball play getting the job done and getting you that much closer.
The 2-2 to Shohei Ohtani. He has done it! Wow! Way back! We are tied up, his second 3-run jack of the night.
Segoy! Shohei, the power. Shohei, the tie game. What a swing. 2 3-run home runs. A mammoth home run. Shohei, unbelievable. The unicorn does it again. Hey, by the way, he's pitching tomorrow.
Ohtani looking for another one, but he flared it out to left. That's going to score 1 run. And that's another RBI. That's 8 on the night for Ohtani. It's a 1-run game. And he gets it. Oh, the heater right by Bobby Witt Jr. out number 1. The 2-2. That one is in there. So the man who hit 2 3-run homers last night just jumps on the hill and gets out of trouble.
Those secondary counts, what makes it better. Nasty. That's a nasty. I thought it was a splitter, but it says a cutter.
Strikes out Santana, his 3rd K. Feeling good about another strikeout also. And he strikes out the side. 4 in a row. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. And then does that.
You know, keep in mind, this is a guy that crushed the baseball almost every at-bat last night. 2 punch-outs already. Slider, the depth. We just showed that spin. How consistent that is, right around 24, 47 RPM.
Looking for another one. 0-2. Drops it in there. Got him looking.
Curveball. He had curved his enthusiasm on that one after a splitter. Drops the curveball in.
The 1-2. And he struck out the side. He's got 9. He's retired 12 in a row. 2-2. That's in there. He got him. That's 10.
Does he feel it or what? He knew that baseball was a strike out of his hand.
Coming to Melendez.
Wow.
In there, number 11. Got him looking.
That had some bite. Curveball.
Swing and a miss. That's 12. A dirty dozen for Shohei Ohtani. Ties a career high.
Absolutely dominant performance. Shohei, splitter, Dozier, no chance. Punch out number 12 of the game. Emotions for Shohei.
0-2 coming. It is in there. A career-high 13 strikeouts for Shohei Ohtani. How about a little Baker's dozen, Shohei?
Absolutely outstanding, Patio. Shohei, the punch-out tonight.
Exercise suddenly became real. An unknown aircraft was flying close to NATO's airspace, and these jets are just coming back from intercepting them. Could you identify the plane that you just intercepted?
Yes, I can, but I can't tell you the type.
From which country was that?
It was non-military, actually non-NATO military.
Russians?
Don't ask.
We're telling people up front, this is a very big deal. The sheer magnitude of the L train shutdown is being acknowledged. This is unprecedented.
No one understands how bad this is going to be when it happens.
More than 50% of this business is going to go down. I'm talking about like 60 to 70%.
How dare you do this to us? We are people.
There's been some criticism that this process should be farther along.
When did government incompetence become okay?
This is just another complete disaster.
We are not empty suits.
This should not have been a surprise.
You have aging infrastructure, lack of maintenance, the rising specter of climate change, and political tensions over who's responsible for fixing it, who's responsible for paying for it. The New York City subway system is an achievement, it's an architectural feat, but its decline is very much a symptom of where we've gone as a society and as a country.
To keep our workers safe and to keep the public safe, we're going to do something that has never been done before.
I don't think I can adequately express what the pandemic did to this organization.
Gun violence in Baltimore is nothing new. I'm from this city, I'm a son of Baltimore. My generation and generations before me are responsible for a lot of what we see now. It's our role to kind of go back and help correct some things that we helped make wrong. It's something that you just can't turn away from.
Roca is a long-term behavioral health program. We work with 16 to 24-year-old young men at the center of urban violence with the goal of keeping them alive and out of jail.
We deal with a population of young men that's highly traumatized, and trauma plays a huge role in their participation in the lifestyle that they live.
What's up, bro?
The role that we play is to help those young men learn to resolve conflicts in a healthier way. We can help them deal with the emotions that they're experiencing, change their thinking, and eventually change their behaviors. If you support young people and you give them the love and support that they need, then they will grow and flourish as individuals and turn away from that violence.
And to hear some of the conversations that we've had with young men, I can tell you that they're in a way different place than they were a year ago. So I know that we've made impacts on the way that young people think, and I know we've made impacts on the decisions that they make.
Roca alone can't solve this problem. It's going to take the city, the police department, criminal justice partners to work together.
We need partners that are doing economic development, social development, drug treatment, changing the gun laws.
What I appreciate most about the partnership that we have with Giffords is their ability to fight and advocate for us up there at the top. We're credible messages here, but the people at Giffords are credible messages in their lane that they're in. So we need people to make sure that the message of the front line doesn't get left out of the work. We know that this is not the end, it's just the beginning. It really gives us a real opportunity to affect change in gun violence in Baltimore.
What we're doing here is working. This is something that every city should be looking at.
And Roca is a proud partner in the gun violence prevention movement, and together we can save lives.
我嘅最大型就係起咗40幾層。其實就如果你對即係做慣嗰扎人嚟講，就冇乜難度。
Hong Kong, a jungle of steel and concrete. Here, over 9,000 skyscrapers are crammed together, and it's considered one of the most densely populated areas in the world. But look closely, and you'll see an organic material that weaves itself through the cracks, up the walls, completely engulfing entire structures. This is bamboo, and Hong Kong is one of the last places in the world where bamboo is still widely used as a building material. And these guys? Well, they've built this whole thing from the ground up.
我姓許啊。
同事點嗌你嘅？
叫我肥仔啊。係啊。
While most scaffolding around the world is made with aluminum or steel, Hong Kong is one of the last places where bamboo is still widely used. It has been a common construction material for centuries in China. But due to safety concerns, the art of bamboo building is mostly gone, even in mainland China. But it remains a viable yet threatened industry in Hong Kong, where scaffolding structures can soar up to 60 stories high.
嗰個力學上嘅話，你要計到好準嘅。如果你太高嘅話咧，佢一受力嗰個棚咧就會攣啊。
That need for precision is partially why bamboo scaffolding has largely disappeared outside of Hong Kong. Unlike steel, which can be cut into precise pieces, bamboo is a plant and is much more fickle. Not all pieces are consistent in quality, and they have to be manually tied together, which requires a lot of skill. But bamboo has its benefits as well. First, it's a sustainable material. It is the fastest growing plant on Earth. It can grow up to 3 feet a day, and because it reproduces through rhizomes, which are underground roots, it can self-multiply. Which means that a grove of bamboo can technically grow and grow for up to 100 years. Second, compared to steel, bamboo is a much lighter material. It's 6 times faster to put up and 12 times faster to take down. It's also cheaper, and if properly installed, bamboo is stronger than steel and far more flexible. It is the ideal material for temporary structures. And in Hong Kong, it is also used to build seasonal opera theaters, which pop up every spring.
可以代表到香港添啊！我全名陳旭光，我係神功戲棚嘅搭建師傅。戲棚最主要就係做神功戲啦。 最主要嘅係做出嚟嗰個外形係一定係要美麗嘅。
Chan's family has been building with bamboo for generations. But what's tied together will eventually be taken down. When the opera season is over, the theater is dismantled and the parts are recycled. Bamboo theaters are temporary installations and an art form that is fading.
梗係希望多啲人入行啦。第一樣嘢，傳統嘅神功戲棚唔好俾佢失傳落去。其次上， 我哋嘅師傅亦都係唔使嗰個工作量咁大， 但係你話依家入行嘅人咧越嚟越少，因為我哋做我哋呢樣嘢咧係好辛苦。神功戲棚轉變唔大嘅轉變，都係保存到傳統落嚟做嗰個工作嘅。
In the book, I use a metaphor to try to help give the reader, and frankly, me as well, an intuitive understanding of timescales that really defy human intuition. Because to really talk about the far future of the universe, you need to talk about timescales that are fantastically longer than even the stretch all the way back to the Big Bang. So to do that, I ask the reader, and I'll ask you here now to go with me. Imagine that we use the following metaphor. Imagine we have the Empire State Building. And imagine that every floor of the Empire State Building represents a duration that's 10 times that of the previous floor. So ground floor is 1 year, first floor 10 years, second floor 100, third floor 1,000, and so forth. So in this scheme, we are going exponentially far into the future as we climb up the stairwell of the Empire State Building. Now in this scheme, everything that's happened from the Big Bang until today extends to just above the 10th floor, roughly 10 billion years. And as we go forward, we're just going exponentially beyond that. And I'll just take you through a couple of the floors to give a sense of what happens. By floor 11, the sun is going to swell to over 200 times its current size, engulfing the inner planets and maybe even the Earth as well. By floor 14, most stars will have used up their nuclear fuel and will fade to black. By floor 19, the Earth, if it wasn't swallowed up by the sun on floor 11, is now going to spiral into the dark sun, having lost energy through gravitational radiation. By floor 30, most stars will fall into their galaxy's central black hole. By floor 38, protons, the very heart of complex matter, are likely to disintegrate, showing that complex matter will be gone when you pass by the 38th floor. By floor 50, any cogitating beings that still exist, and there may simply be none around once protons decay, but if there are cogitating beings left in the universe, they will think their final thought, because the actual process of thinking creates waste heat, entropy, that the universe needs to absorb, but by the floor 50, the universe won't be able to absorb it, which means that when that thinking being thinks one more thought, it will fry in the own heat that its thought generates. Between floor 68 and the peak, even black holes will disintegrate through a process that Stephen Hawking taught us about. They will radiate energy into space and disperse into a bath of particles that will simply waft through an ever larger and ever colder cosmos. That's it.
But now let's debrief, because the city of Houston is being recognized nationally for how we have handled homelessness. Fox 26's Gabby Hart joining us live to debrief us on the numbers. And Gabby, talk about the decline that we've seen. It's been significant over long years, but in recent years, I mean, what are the numbers?
That's right, Caitlin. Now, when you're driving around the city, it might not look like it when you see those homeless encampments. The city officials say that in 2011, the number of people experiencing homelessness was more than 8,000. And as of today, that number is just over 3,000.
You know, at one point in time, you know, Houston was on the list as being one of the cities with the worst homeless problems. But that has changed.
A recent article from the New York Times is commending the city of Houston for how officials have handled the homeless crisis. Houston is the 4th largest city in our nation, but stats are showing that compared to larger cities, we've got a better grip on homelessness.
In the last decade, we've reduced homelessness in the city by 63%.
That's nearly 25,000 people housed over the years. And Mayor Turner says it took a village with local businesses, faith-based groups, and nonprofit organizations like Coalition for the Homeless.
We definitely are seeing less individuals experiencing homelessness on the streets.
Anna Rausch is the vice president of operations with Coalition for the Homeless. She says Houston is standing out because of its Housing First motto, meaning people don't have to complete any programs before they get housing.
We want to make sure that we house people before they try to work on anything else.
Rausch also says the number of organizations participating in the Way Home project means ample community resources working together to help those experiencing homelessness.
It's over 100 partners working together to end homelessness.
And when it comes to veteran homelessness, our city says they've successfully solved that issue.
It doesn't mean that there's not any homeless veterans out there. It means that we can house those veterans quickly.
A lot of times, a lot of people have lost hope.
Misty Richardson experienced homelessness in her past. She's now the founder of Reach the Homeless, working hands-on to help people living on the streets. She says while she can see the progress, more can be done.
A lot of times, some people are still falling in between the cracks. And I think that if the support is strengthened, that it will go a long way.
So Gabby, you mentioned just over 3,000 people still on any given night in our area are out there. Do they think that they can still get that number even lower?
Well, Caitlin, I can tell you that that is definitely one of the goals the mayor talked about today during a city council meeting. That number, 3,000 or more than 3,000, is still an alarming number of people on our streets. But again, the mayor, along with the Way Home organizations, are looking for a way to continue to combat that homelessness and keep that number decreasing and not increasing.
And the mayor of New York City is apparently coming down to visit. What's that about?
That's right. Mayor Turner announced today that after the New York Times aired that article, that the mayor of New York City reached out to him stating that he wanted to come along with his team and really learn and get a firsthand look at what the city of Houston is doing that's been so successful at targeting and tackling homelessness. For now, I'm reporting live. Gabby Hart, back to you, Caitlin.
Something for us all to be proud of, to be leading the way. Gabby, thank you.
It's unique, really. I can't think of anything else around the world that's anything like this.
We've been told it's very tough. Yeah. We've been told it's the hardest thing that we'll do.
It all started one night in the Nyath Arms Hotel. I said that a runner would beat a horse over a long distance, and that's how it came about. We put it to the test.
I've never raced a horse before, so I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to kind of see what that looks like. A good story goes a long way, and it was what got me over here. And I thought, well, I don't know if I could do that, so why not go give it a try?
And it is a very difficult race. Don't be mistaken in thinking it's only 22 miles. This isn't the London Marathon where hills are speed humps. These are proper hills. So it's not for the faint-hearted, I'm afraid.
It feels good. Yeah, I'm chuffed to get the win. That was the main aim, but still a bit gutted not to hold off the horse, and I think I'm going to have to come back next year as well.
Oh, it's very tiring, very tiring. I've got a lot of respect for the runners. It's hard enough work on the horse without kind of the runners. I've got the greatest respect for. We can go a lot faster up the hills, but coming down the hills, the runners are as fast, if not faster, than us going down the hills. So it's quite interesting.
That was amazing. Absolutely loved it. Even though I was getting overtaken by horses in the first leg, it was incredible.
Just really great, like everyone was enjoying it. The whole idea of horses galloping past you when you're doing a race like that is just ridiculous, and everyone had a great time.
Brutal, but scenery's lovely, fabulous race. Definitely be back next year.
Gandhiji used to go for cleaning his teeth, like with a stick. So he used to go into the river, take a bucket, fill the bucket up, and use the water of the bucket. And by washing the face and washing the mouth and everything, the water used to be a little bit scarce. So somebody said, Gandhiji, you have the river flowing just next to you, and then you are just like using this water, scarce. There is a scarcity of water. He says, this river is for the entire country, for the whole. I'm taking my own share. My share is the bucket. So I will only utilize the water of the bucket and nothing more.
Women are now allowed to work. They work in the power sector so that they can earn employment for themselves, so they can self-sustain their family. And the jobs are specifically made for women only, so they can uplift themselves,
Man is actor, God is director, life is drama. Love is God, God is love.
All right.
But the question is, why is so many people from different parts of the world, from different parts of India, have today congregated to this one place? And the answer is very simple. That every human being in his lifetime faces suffering. That we suffer because we let the influences of the external world influence what is inside of us. If the mind is strong, then the external influences can be stopped and cannot be allowed to influence our mind.